the Hawaiian Islands themselves are their own individual chakra system in the Pacific, right? So the 7 islands are all representing kind of like the core spiritual input and output system of the Pacific Ocean. And so there's a reason why these islands are under attack. It's a spiritual warfare that we've been going through, going back 500,000 plus years into the timelines of Mu prior to the sinking of Mu, which is prior to Lemuria even. So there's a lot that's been going on in the world. This isn't a surprise. It is a surprise, but it's not new news.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I have an amazing guest with me today. I have with me back IndigoAngel from IndigoAngel222.com. She's an amazing, esoteric and occult researcher. I say she's one of the best upcoming people doing this. She gets really deep into implants and seals. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to also be talking about what's going on in Maui. So welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're here. And Indy, thank you for coming back on. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm so good to be here. I'm happy to have this conversation with you. We've been going back and forth for a while, I think, on these topics, and more just keeps revealing itself through other interviews that we do together with Laura Eisenhower. This topic actually came up quite a bit. And so it's just leading to the culmination of the course that I'm going to be teaching on it. So it's pretty exciting times. There's so much going on, so much new information and revolutionary spiritual technology that's available to us now to be healing things like what's going on in Maui. And so I'm excited to come on and share it today.
Yeah. Do you want to, should I play the preview video, or should I wait till what do you think?
Yeah, you can play it.
Okay.
Definitely.
Can you see it up on my screen?
Yeah, it's just a fun little promo video that we did, and it just kind of gives an overview of what this course is going to be about and what people are going to be learning if they come to sign up for this seal removal certification course.
Oh, and I put a link in the description. She gave you guys a link with a discount. If you it's it was in the description of the other video. I got to put it in this video. Zoom doesn't allow you to put links in the description, but if you go in the link of the other video, you'll see a link to sign up for our course. And if you sign up through on my link, you get a discount. I mean, don't they have to put a promo code in or something, I think?
Well, you have an affiliate link, so if they sign up through your affiliate link, not only do you get a percentage that goes to you, and then also 10% discount with the discount coupon code removal10 at checkout. There's another 10% off that comes off the cost as well.
Awesome.
And I also do have payment plans available because of the cost of the course as well. I tried to make it easy and more available to people that wanted to take it.
But you're pouring out your life's knowledge in this. It's like you're.
Yes. So it is kind of a high value cost, but the level of information is college instructor level. And this is probably about 5 years accumulative of my own personal studies and work. And so I kind of value it according to, what would I charge individually to do these sessions? And so kind of packaged it in the sense of the cumulativeness of what each one of those sessions would cost.
Yeah.
But then also discounted it in a way. But what you're getting is all of the information, all of the history, all of the background, how to read holographic architecture, the techniques and skills to actually remove implants and seals, and then also the universal templating for each one of them. It's a grand, massive amount of information that one is going to be integrating into their consciousness. And truthfully, they're not going to be able to integrate it all in the time being in which the course is going to be taught. So that's why downloads and replays and continued study, breakout rooms and practice is all going to be available through the coursework.
Now, will they walk away from this course being able to remove jade implants and seals themselves? Is that the whole idea behind it? Like the devotee, or not the student, will be able to then do these things on their own?
Yes, absolutely, for themselves. And then for other people, they can apply it to their business and to their clients as well if they want to integrate these sessions as well for their facilitation work and healing work as well. So yeah, it's full around everything.
It's huge because it's basically like, if you think about it, it's teaching people how to dive deeper into their psyche, because like where you're using your psychic and intuition and mind to do this, plus the training techniques that you've acquired over the years. And so it's like a culmination of all that. So it sounds really exciting. It sounds like a really cool thing. I'm gonna play the promo video because it looks like we finally have some people in here.
Okay. Well, I was thinking we could kind of start about talking about some of the current events maybe, and then we can kind of go into it because it's really interesting that these fires are taking place in Maui. The Hawaiian Islands themselves are their own individual chakra system in the Pacific, right? So the 7 islands are all representing kind of like the core spiritual input and output system of the Pacific Ocean. And so there's a reason why these islands are under attack. It's a spiritual warfare that we've been going through, going back 500,000 plus years into the timelines of Mu prior to the sinking of Mu, which is prior to Lemuria even. So there's a lot that's been going on in the world. This isn't a surprise. It is a surprise, but it's not new news. It's really just another level of the collective awakening event that's taking place. The Lion's Gate was this year particularly was a very tumultuous gateway. It wasn't very easy. It was difficult. Typically the last couple of years, the Lion's Gate has been, it's been very joyous. It's been very abundant. There's a lot of beautiful spiritual revelations that come through it. But this year it was like a lot of people were submerged. A lot of people were going through a lot of personal, emotional, mental, spiritual, physical difficulties. That's kind of been the main message, at least upon my inner circle. There's been a lot of us that are having to wake up to just deeper wake up calls, having to make bigger changes in our lives, having to take our health more seriously. So it's a lot of major transformations, a lot of collective awakening is stirring in the grids from this. And so I think what we're seeing with the fires, and it's not just Hawaii, it's not just Maui, there's Corfu in Greece. There's been major fires going on over there for about 3 weeks. Portugal is on fire. I mean, everywhere's on fire, basically. With Maui specifically, though, I do think that there is a more dark alien tech presence, a dark military presence. I've been seeing for the last couple of weeks, at least within my local area, even because I live on a coastal area, that the dark military tech has amped up in coastal areas. I've been saying for a while, like, we, as grid workers, we need to be working on the coastal regions where the water meets the land, because this is where we have the most superimposition of Navy, of Marine Force, of secret space programs, underground dams. I mean, a lot of these are really posted up on coastal regions and island areas. I think even down in Maui, there's a underground gray dome or base that they're utilizing there to implement all of the negative alien tech.
I got a question. I just thought about this. Like the powers that be. Well, it's like the alternative media is coming out with a reason. They think, a lot of people think this might have been about land, like that they were trying to take land from the people, especially like in the town that it was. I guess it's a really high, like residence area, like and I don't know if there was an issue with that, or if that's just the problem that they're trying to show us, but it's a much deeper problem, like you're saying, like it's just like alien tech, and it's a lot darker than what people are seeing on the surface.
People are not going to be able to see this level of alien tech on the surface, because it's very much merged with the secret, the occult, the holographic reality. So yeah, unless you have a trained eye in these type of things, when it comes to reading, all of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, like, you're not going to know about this stuff. This is definitely not for the mainstream, even though the mainstream is starting to see more of what's actually going on, because of this collective awakening event. Like I've been saying, like, this is for everybody right now. It doesn't matter where one is at in their awakening or their biological ascension markers. Like, everybody is waking up, because what's happening is we're having a major breakdown in society. We're having global grid events take place all over the world. The energetic fields are becoming more destabilized. And so when that happens, we have a lot of outer and inner conflicts of planetary chaos that's going to increase. And so we just have to be more aware of this, because we're having to be prepared to take on these challenges as they arise. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on with this. There's a lot of people believing the propaganda and the mainstream lies and deceit, and they're being subdued into a lot of unnatural frequencies and inorganic energies. So this is just a beratement overall, through the media on our templating. Nothing's going to lead to the truth here with all of this, because who's in control of it? It's deceitful. They're not telling the truth. So what we can only assume and speculate is that it was a directed energy weapon. This has kind of been, I think, the main narrative that's running current within the higher consciousness community, is that it's coming from blue beam technology. Again, I think that was amping up 2 weeks ago. I was seeing blue beam technology activate here on the coast of Pensacola along the beach. I was seeing the activation of typhoon funnels, which are inorganic funnels that actually collect harvested loosh from lesser spirits, from the soul shedding of suffering, from the soul shedding of the inebriated, the intoxicated, those that are, in a very low vibration, and it's just kind of sucking the energy from their fields. They're harvesting this to power, these dark techs, these beast machines, these gray alien technology, everything that they're doing to basically harvest humanity's energy for artificial intelligence matrices. And so, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of this playing out on the coastal regions. I've been hearing from the ocean beings in the waters. I mean, we have orcas attacking boats. I had a dream the other night that a stingray was eating a man. The sharks are more activated in the waters right now. Like, the ocean's telling us what's going on. The ocean hasn't been very kind to humanity lately. And it's because there's a lot of contention, again, where the water's meeting the land. Okay, so when you think about these fires in Hawaii, we have this natural contention that's fighting against the inorganic. We have just the overall collective awakening events that are taking place. And then we have the planetary alignments that are pushing forward. And then we have the dark and negative controller forces that have these advanced technologies to use against humanity. And so we're really just at a tipping point. everything is shifting because this is the height of the timeline wars. And so these global type of events, they're dramatic, but I think they're going to continue to be dramatic. And so it's a heating up of these smaller events and these fires, these ET and UAP sightings, Congress, all of it. The dominoes are basically falling. All of the wild cards are being played.
I
And
have a question for you. Did you see the thing about the aliens attacking in Peru, and they're calling them face peelers and stuff like that? Like, I don't know how real the face peeler stuff is, but like, I think something more is going on there. Like, a lot of people say it's like blue beam technology, that it's deep state. Like, but I think there's something else more going on there, because that island has been like having these attacks for a long time. Like, I think a Christian UFO researcher said that. Like, I think it was Timothy Alberino. He said that like these islands, they've been like having issues with aliens for a long time. So I just wanted to know, did you see that article or the coverage of it, and what did you think of it?
yeah, I did see it. Honestly, didn't think too much about that one. Peru is just overall, it's like a very activated location when it's a Stargate location. There's constant extraterrestrial involvement. I just feel like it's a coup. I feel like it's honestly another psyop to blow some propaganda out of the water and kind of make it, because that interdimensional activity is going on constantly anyways. You know, it always has been. So it's just kind of funny that they're just blowing it out of the water now. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but like, okay, so back to Hawaii. One thing I noticed was that the boats were burning, and I think that was one thing that a lot of people picked up on. They were like, okay, well, if there was fires on land, how are the boats on the ocean burning? That had to be from maybe a directed energy weapon, or people are starting to say that it's from a directed energy weapon. But like, do you think that's possible, or like?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think they're definitely using directed energy weapons, whether they're using it from spacecraft above and beaming them down, because we had an overabundance of spacecraft that was really, I mean, massively here where I'm located. There's so much spacecraft that's going on. So I wouldn't be surprised if it came down, or if it was directed through an underground base facility, potentially even coming up from Antarctica. I know Antarctica is one of the places where they have like the most directed energy weapon management perfected, that they're utilizing the technology. It also could have been coming from, I think it probably came up from the Southern Hemisphere, to be honest with you. But yeah, there's just a lot of transformation that's happening on this gate system. Overall, Hawaii's been under attack. Like, if you look at Lemuria's history, the land itself is encoded to Holocaust. It's encoded to genocide. The reason why is because the gate systems in Hawaii have the ability to actually heal the entire globe. They have the ability to go in and recorrect the major earth-based Merkaba systems and earth-based holographic spiritual pillar systems through higher harmonics, 12th dimensional, 13th dimensional spiritual technologies. People can go there, access those gate systems, and completely recorrect the spiritual imbalance within the earth and eliminate all of the negative energies on the earth. So the contention over that gate system is major warfare. It's happening on so many forefronts and hyperdimensional levels that what we're seeing is just it's the variant, it's the promoted symptom of what's going on. But underneath it, it's a very deep and intense and akashic timeline warfare that's happening. And I think overall, like, it's dissolving several layers of the old matrix templating from the earth body. I don't know if you noticed, but when we went through that Lion's Gate, did you not feel like your consciousness just like went, like you were in a void for like 2 weeks? Did it not feel like you were just like lost?
I was, yeah. It was insane. It was like, it was weird. At the same time, I felt like it was easier to manifest stuff though, too. So it was weird. Like, I was able to manifest like things I wanted, but at the same time, things were really haywire. It was like, I mean, especially building up to it. I think that's where a lot of my like physical pains were coming from too, because like now I haven't been in pain for like 3 days, which is weird,
Right. Yeah, I've been feeling good for about 3 days now too. Before that, I was in a state of, what felt like unbearable misery for almost 3 weeks.
Me
I mean,
too.
I had to pull away from taking sessions and everything because I just could not get myself together. I could not hold on to this reality. I literally had to go sit under trees for days at a time, just trying to like ground and get right again because, the harm and the devastation that's happening in the world at large, we're all having to recover from collective PTSD. We're living through real-time genocide. These are extermination events. You said the boats were burning. I mean, this is a real-time genocide. Like there's agendas, there's ancestry and generational programming, generational vendettas, generational karmas that are playing out with the attacks on these gate systems. They don't want the rise of Lemuria. They're trying to prevent that from happening. The prophecy is that Lemuria will come back. Lemuria is to resurface, not Atlantis. Everyone says, oh, Atlantis is coming back. No, Lemuria is coming back. The crystal seas of the world will rise again. New lands will form. The waters are going to shift. And so new things are going to emerge, whether people are like it or not.
I got a question.
Yeah.
This has been an attack also on the Hawaiian people themselves, right? I mean, I know you said like after, this is kind of separate from what I was saying, but I know I'm kind of piecing things together. You said after 9/11, people really like used the aloha spirit to like heal. I remember you saying that because you were going to do like a grid working mission on Hawaii before. And I remember you talking about that. But also I was wondering if you could talk about that, and also have the Hawaiian people themselves been under attack? And is it because of that Lemurian root stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what it is. They're the true, you know, descendants from the Lemurian people. And aloha is the word aloha, the phrase of aloha has the power to heal, it has the power to unite. It's a phrase that has transcended all of the genocide for hundreds of thousands of years. And so, I mean, anybody who's carrying that original angelic ascended masters, see, these descendants have the soul bodies of the original ascended masters of that time, of the original Ioni tribes. And so they're under, which means they have the ability to bring in fifth dimensional incarnates. They have the ability to actually bring in those that can uphold the timelines of the new earth. And so you can see why that would be under such great attack by the Dracos, by the reptilians, by the controllers, by those that don't want light and the new earth to prevail. Like this, again, it goes back to this great timeline warfare and genocide and hybridization programs. This is, they want to use these genetics to hybridize them, to mate with them, to force breed with them, to degrade their ascension codes and their DNA, and to get into these bodies, to consume the light within those bodies, and then utilize the bodies for their agendas. Yeah. So it's really, really crazy. And another thing that has came up in my awareness, and I talked about this on my channel, was there was a lot of people propagating on like social media and stuff about grid worker malpractice. I don't know if you've heard about this.
No.
Yeah, there's people talking about claiming, all these fires in Lemuria, it's from the grid workers, it's from the star seeds going on and working on the stargates when they don't have the accurate ascension codes to be accessing the gate systems for these clearings. And so the star seeds caused these fires. And I just want to say, like, it's full on bullocks. And I just want to caution people that there's a lot of plants right now. There's a lot of engineered opinions and engineered perspectives, engineered relationships. Okay. And people talking on things that are just simply not true, wanting to kind of defame and deface the belief of the grid workers to try to stop the grid worker revolution and technology, for their, the battles of disclosure and, for gaining a popular narrative to gain, power and influence. But ultimately, they're just trying to infect the grid worker community. So I just want to say, like, steer clear of that, because I don't think that's true at all. I think that if people have the ability to work on these gate systems, that they're encoded to it for a reason. And I think what's been lost is the trust in the divine. I think what's been lost is our faith, and the trust in divine assistance, that we are being guided to work on the land. We are being guided to heal the gate systems. We are being guided to raise the consciousness of the land. And so it's just been frustrating for me to hear some of these things come out, because, I think it's a lot of people speaking on it that don't even have the credibility or the background, or have been vetted out to be even speaking on Gridwork or technologies, period. So it's just people trying to shit in the pot of the Gridworker intelligence community. And it's it's an interesting dynamic that's coming, and it kind of makes me laugh. But I think it's ridiculous, because it's so clearly evident that these fires are coming from the transformation of the earth, the planetary alignments, the intensity of what we're going through in terms of collective awakening events, and then also what we're dealing with on the negative aspects, which are the directed energy weapons, the frequency fences. People forget about frequency fences. Like, the entire reason we even have implants and seals in our bodies is from frequency fences, and from the abuse of crystal technology, and the reignition of blue beam technology, HARP, all of these things. Like, this is what keeps us enslaved with holographic blockages in our field, with holographic blockages that are encoded to those gate systems in Hawaii. I've gone on a full-on campaign over the last year and a half, removing sexual misery implants out of people. Maybe that caused the fires, like, it's full-on transformation. We have to clear out what's blocking the transmission and the flow to the celestial bodies within these systems to continue to empower the spiritual immune system of the earth. Yeah. And so I think that's,
I was paying attention to the chat while you were talking. Matthew Morney, and he's great. He said that stuff is coming. He said he wanted to thank you for commenting on that. He said that stuff is coming from Antonio Arillo. I'm not sure who he is. That's who's starting to spread that Gridwork or malpractice stuff.
Yeah. I don't know this person personally. I think it's probably coming from a few sources. But I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. I think that it's evident that there's a hijack on the disclosure movement, and it's to gain control over how these particular things are seen by the public. I think these people are plants. And I think what they're doing is they're trying to spread familiar narratives and just alter, familiar narratives that have been slaying the consciousness movements all along, these higher consciousness revolution movements, and muddying the water and trying to spread disharmony instead of unification and empowerment. They want to, spread those reversal codes and use all the propaganda tactics for psychological manipulation. And they're aiming it right towards the Gridworker community at this time. So there is a level of infiltration in the Gridworker community right now. And I'm just saying, be vigilant, be aware, because it's just another manipulation tactic.
Yeah. Did you want to get into these seals a little bit? I can share some of the images you provided. I'm not sure how good it's going to share, but I mean, I can still bring them up. Maybe that'll give people a better idea of like what you're talking about. Let me see here if I can share.
Sure.
I'll do this one first. This is the okay. So should we start with this one, or let me see here?
Yeah, sure. We can start with that one. Or that one, or whatever one.
Clark, sorry. These are my other photos that I have on my desktop. So okay, so we can, I guess, start with this one.
Okay, so that one has a lot to do with Lemurian history. Basically, it goes back to the first Holocaust.
Yeah, it's saying like something about breeder harness, 12 stars of Mary's crown, 40 lace clamp imprints, motherhood hooks. Like is this so this is all stuff that we get at like birth, like these are like birth implants, I guess, or not? I don't know much about that.
Yeah, basically. So the history of it goes back to the dismantling of Lemuria. And what happened was, in that time, is there was a lot of betrayal that ensued from the undergrowing of and the emerging of the Atlantean civilization. And essentially, there was a lot of events that happened similar to what's going on now, but there were underground tunnels that were blown up. There was attempts to keep Draco invasions out. And what happened was the divine feminine soul group of that time, the original Ioni tribal ascended masters, essentially, there was a great disconnecting from their partners. Okay. And so the females were implanted with all kinds of stuff, false twin flame tags. They were blackmailed. They were tricked into believing that if they willingly went to save their counterparts, with these dark Anunnaki types, that they would be able to save their partners, but basically they took them for a forced breeding program. And so through that, there was a great trauma that happened, a great core world wounding that happened, and they were implanted with actual etheric holographic implants, chains that tie them to the suffering of the moon, that tie them to the incarnation of the refugee races, that through these hybridized lines to come in, they actually strapped, you can see across the chest, there is like a harness. And so these are the actual force breeder implants. And so women today carry these. Women who have descended down through these Mary Magdalene lines, these Isis lines, these Templar Anunnaki lines, these Black Madonna templates, they're all carrying these universal distortions, because on an aspect of their past lives and their akashic history, they have the memory, they have the imprints, they have the encoding to these original world traumas. And so it's basically how they, utilize them to continue to manipulate for DNA modification. And it's about damaging the stargates, honestly, on the Earth. They want to basically implant these forced traumas into the atomic levels of the astral and the material body. And it causes a lot of heart damage, a lot of soul-based trauma, and it's just shutting down, making the stargates less receptive to creation and bringing in fifth dimensional soul imprints. And so it has a deep effect on women to this day. Around childbirth, around motherhood, around relationships, around self-hatred for themselves, for their offspring, for not receiving the assistance that they need, for great, karmic retribution and suffering, being robbed of their fertility, their youth, their reproduction, dealing with evils that have come between them and their femininity, their spirituality. And so it's taken a great detrimental effect of women. And women deal with it on all different levels. I mean, there's a whole different scale of which and how women are affected, to the most severe cases to those that I think aren't really affected at all. But it's definitely happening. It's definitely playing out. And so this is just one of the seal systems that we're going to work on teaching and using for the course. There's a lot of different types of implants here with this, though. There's the moon chains, or the force breeder harnesses. There's the 12 stars of Mary's crown. There's the fleur-de-lis clamp, which is like a superimposed holographic implant on the uterus.
Oh, that sounds rough.
Yeah, this one,
Basically, it just means that like if you have these, like you're gonna feel like out of whack, right? Like your emotions, it's almost like I remember, like for example, like I remember the alien abduction researcher Daryl Sims told me one time. He said like if people have these implants in them, like they can affect your neurotransmitters, like they can affect your dopamine, serotonin, your endorphins, like they can control everything that's in your system, so it doesn't make you anymore. But is that correct, or what do you think?
100%. 1000%. You think about all of the things that women deal with today: endometriosis, sterilization, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, just out of control hormones and periods. Like every woman I talk to, just about, I mean, they have extreme cycles where, I mean, they're getting ridiculously ill around their cycle time. I'm talking vomiting, diarrhea, flu. They're getting the flu. They're getting a week or two of just complete emotional breakdown and depression. They can't like get right. Like the period, the reproductive system itself is trying to speak to say something's not right. Something is toxic in the body. And so, yeah, it's affecting us in so many ways. So many ways. So, I mean, everyone always asks me, like, if you do these removals, you know, are you clear right away? I feel like this isn't a one-time removal thing. This is a practice in which you continually work on because of how grave the planetary distortions are within this, how toxic our environment is, how toxic relationships have become, how toxic the backup in the timelines have become. This is about clearing your akashic records from Lemuria on a deeper level. Like it's now, but it's then as well. It's everything.
That's interesting. Yeah, because our society is, and is this the next one, the Aryan? Now, is this for men or women, the Aryan occult seal removal, or is that like? And I see it comes from like a Draco seal. It's like a Draco seal.
Yeah, this one is for men and women. This one is similar to the J seal in a way. How I've kind of come into this is I did J seal removals for a long time. And so after I did, I mean, over 1,000 J seal removals, I just started to see other implant systems by client feedback, by holographic perspective, psychic depth perception, reading fields, seeing more, realizing that there's multiple universal seal systems running. It's not just the J seals. And that the Draco seal is a much more intense seal system that we've yet to really fully and truly acknowledge. This one is really held within the Aryan timeline. So it's been very hard to see because there's actually timeline seals that start to dissolve as we move through planetary precession cycles. So those timeline seals start to dissolve, and then we can start to see where the time seal cloaking was. So then the visibility starts to become more clear. The seal systems start to become more clear. Guess what? There's seal systems being installed in us right now from this timeline. We don't even know what the entirety of that is just yet.
Yeah,
But this
it's weird. I was going to say it's like the entities or the aliens or whoever's manipulating us, they're so far ahead of us, and we've been programmed to be so far behind in our ways of like spirituality and understanding these things. It seems like we have to play catch up, like because it's like they're always one step ahead of us, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. And plus the human mind is just so limited. The human consciousness field is limited with how much it can perceive in its totality and ultimately take in. So not only do we have to be trying to think ahead, but we have to constantly be reinforcing the ability to expand our consciousness to hold more. And so it requires all of our time and effort just to work on our own bioenergetic field and mind wave field just to even keep up with it. So, I mean, yeah, we can definitely fall unconscious to these things very easily. The amnesic technologies on this planet are a real intense thing. And, but with this one, this has a lot to do with the Aryan root race. And They were placed by the Draco Anunnaki hybrids, including Aldebaran and Orion hybrids. And it's continuing to affect the sixth root race development. This seal system is probably one of the greatest dangers to Earth's population, just because of the intensity and the evils in which coincide with these seal systems. These are really connected to generational curses, ancestral suffering, dominating superior race complex disadvantages, hierarchical oppression designs, and just reverse reverberation of your morphogenetic field, and connects you to a lot of the dark things that are going on. And it comes down through Indo-Europeans. So it includes Romans, Greeks, Germanic, Balts, Celts, Slavic peoples, Germanic peoples, basically the Aryan race. So anyone who's Proto-Indo-European or Caucasian race is going to be actually more affected by this seal system.
I mean, that's a lot of us, because a lot of us have that that heritage. It seems like the Indo-Europeans like spread all over the place. Like they went to India, Persia. Like that's an enormous amount of people, right? I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. This one really comes through with the Nazis. So this one's really based around like Nazi infiltration. The Nazis were the ones that contacted the White Dracos, or were contacted by the White Dracos originally. And so this one has come through 40 to 60 super federation groups participating on the experiments on angelic human for over 500,000 years. So how long these seals have been here? I mean, it's going back even farther than the Aryan timeline, but I think the Aryan timeline was ultimately when they were implemented. And so this one has, let me look at the picture. So the main Draco seal up at the top, this one kind of works in terms of sealing off your connection to the metagalactic core. So it overlaps kind of like, it looks honestly like a swastika, like an artificial swastika. That's a holographic insert between you and the metagalactic core, removing you from galactic synchronization of time, pulling you out of natural time cycles, and makes it more easy to modify and manipulate you within particular sectors of time perception, which is one of the first bases of mind control and human control and enslavement through calendrical systems and holidays and things like this. And then it breaks down through these other seals, Black Sun seal, which is one that comes through heavily through the Nazis and infiltration of Holocaust and genocide. Kind of like with the J seal removal, how it's really heightened around persecution, removing martyrdom, removing crucifixion, all of these things. This one is really about removing genocide and Holocaust. And then this one also has the Vatican seal as well. This one is about blocking a lot of the connection with source. It's about placing, blockages between you and prayer. It ties down to the reproductive system. So this one actually often infects the ovaries or the testes, because they want to superimpose these dispositions onto unborn children in utero. And it comes with great crucifixion, both male and crucifixion wounding as well. The Vatican seal is it's very extensive. It just really, you have to kind of look into someone's field to see how that one is playing into each one's consciousness. They relate to it through their genetics, through their ancestry. And so it can seal off a lot of things there with that one. Then there's also the Baphomet seal. This one has a lot to do with wealth and monetary curses. This one stems from the treasures of King Solomon that's been descended down through the Templars, that's been descended down through the worship of Baphomet. And it's just it's really a collective wealth curse over the pineal. So it really holds people back from abundance. And then the monarchy seal, of course, which comes through a lot of contracts of slave trades, being suppressed underneath monarchy or rulership. So you can see how when you remove these seals, there's just a great liberation of one's soul that reinitiates God's sovereign freedom. and helps to like alleviate things that you're not really thinking of so much when you think about like, why am I not able to manifest? Why am I not able to create the life that I want? Why am I, feeling so held back and cursed and getting hit with black magic and infiltration and attacks? Well, are you carrying these seals? Because this stuff will definitely call it in. If there is attachment here within these seal systems, it really impedes the right side of the body, the third and the sixth tonal line, and blocks the electrical energy in the body. So what would...
Question?
Mhm.
Sorry, I mean, I was just thinking about this. Like all my life, I felt like there's been something like negative against me, and I've referred to it as like the matrix itself. Like, it seems like anytime I do something positive and I announce it or something, the matrix finds a way to mess it up. Is that like would you say that's something connected to an implant or a seal, or is that just like the negative effects of the matrix? Like, if you had to guess.
I want to say it's both. It's both. I think it's really good to have these seal removals. For me personally, I like to do kind of like a deep evaluation. Like I like to see where exactly, because you might not have all of these, right? Like you might just have a few of these, or you might have all of them, but it's kind of like we would evaluate to see, which ones do you specifically have, and then go through an entire removal of all of them anyways, because to just clear your field of these distortions. But yeah, they can wreak havoc. These can wreak complete havoc on your sovereignty, limiting you from abundance, limiting you from manifestation, and also holding like artificial matrices. That's another thing too. Through these seal systems, one of the things I often see is with that Draco seal, it's often corded down up underneath people's feet to multiple layers and levels of artificial realities that they're walking up underneath on. So they're not even connected to any organic systems whatsoever. And the buildup of these artificial timelines and matrices disengage them from the natural currents of abundance. And so, yeah, I think it would probably be good for you to have this particular one, because since you're resonating with it and you're kind of like feeling called to it, there's definitely this, it's probably running in your field.
Yeah. And I'll move to the last one. The last one's this Lemurian. We didn't go over this one yet. The Lemurian Golden Temple Healing Masculine. Now this one looks like it's for the masculine, right?
Yes. This one is for the masculine. This one is based off of the same events in Lemuria in which took place for the female, but it's just the separation, the slaughter, the betrayal, the trauma of the Maji Grail king lines. And so their wounding also began with the Ayani massacre. And so this one is about repairing the masculine body. The Maji males were basically targeted from birth to receive a lot of these lashings on their soul, degrading and stripping their consciousness, and wounding and tagging and implanting them. And so it's just to modify and manipulate the divine masculine away from their alpha tribal warrior codes. This one's been a little bit difficult for me just because like I'm not a man, right? So like I put these seal systems together because I can see them in men, but I don't have the ability to initiate men to their priest rights. So I do the best I can with this one, but I think it really will take like divine masculines stepping up to do these kinds of like real initiations for other divine masculines. But this one comes with the dawn of time emotional seal. So you want to think about why men are so disconnected from their emotions. It's generational programming, it's generational wounding, it's generational trauma. But this one plays probably the biggest role in berating the consciousness of the masculine mind field. And it not only affects the mind, but it affects their semen. It affects their soul, monadic, universal tree of life, blood covenant binding. And it really anchors in black magic through their ears. These seals are placed in their ears so they cannot hear emotional tonal vibrations to bring it into the soul, to bring it into the heart. It also runs through the eyes, so it alters vision as well. It ties energetically and cords into the obelisk network globally. So actually ties them into the patriarchal domination and control systems. And this one is really like a disease. It is like an internal grievance because most of their lives carrying these seals, they have to be false to themselves. So their true feelings, their needs, their wants, their desires are not able to come through and transmit through the body. With this one, there's a lot of other ones. There's estrogen implants. There's the false king of tyranny implants, which is about dictatorship. This one really blocks up the root chakra. These really go back to the cataclysms of Atlantis as well. So as you remove these, you're clearing the Atlantean timelines. There's a new one that I discovered. You might feel resonant with this one, Rob. I call it the Medusa's gaze implant. Okay, and it's kind of like where men are constantly manifesting divine feminines into their life that are carrying the wounding and the hatred seeds towards the masculine. So they're often scorned and judged by Medusa's glare. And a lot of times they're like completely emasculated by it, by the stone of her wrath. So if a man feels like he's constantly coming into toxic relationships with women that hold like a deep hatred towards the masculine, they might be carrying this Medusa gaze implant. So
That's interesting. That's really interesting. Like, so it's like it comes down to like the kind of relationships I'm manifesting, like could be tied to an implant. Like,
yes.
and that also is like could be like engineered relationships too, right? It could go like they go as far as that. I've heard that, like like the whole alien love bite and like engineered relationships, and I think it all ties in.
Absolutely. It's all connected. This is really a deep sacral chakra clearing. And it's crazy because the masculine body carries all the dark and distorted aspects of sexuality. Like they're far more messed off than the females are when it comes to this stuff, because they're dealing with impotence, they're dealing with erectile dysfunction, they're dealing with hedonistic, or I call them Belial implants. Okay, and it's where they're dealing with lust and adultery. It's where they're really blocked in their first three lower chakras. And there's a lot of entities, lesser spirits, incubuses, succubuses that come along with this. There's also porn implants as well. I mean, this is like a major, this is a major thing.
That's crazy though, that there's porn implants, like, because people really get like sickened by that. That's like a sickness, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you wonder why like porn's free, right? Like why would they make it free? Probably to mess with people's minds. I mean, that's what I think. Like, if there would be another reason, like,
Aren't we supposed to question anything we get for free?
exactly. So why is it free? If there's no other reason why. It doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, it's like, I don't know. Like, it's like it's big, deep programming, or it's big time. So is that it for this stuff? And is there?
I think you forgot the J cell one.
Oh, here, let me see if I can find it. Let me share my screen.
Another one for the masculine one that I think was a big one that we didn't talk about was the circumcision. That I think that's almost like one of the main things for that is that was a satanic ritual abuse that removes the male infant's foreskin. But basically what they're doing is they're binding the male soul to Malak during circumcision. So when we talk about going in and doing a Draco seal removal and removing actual evils out of you, I mean, that's what a Draco seal removal is. You're removing jealous, envious, wrathful gods out of your body. I mean, do we even think about or realize like how that impacts and affects our consciousness on a daily basis? But your soul was binded to Malak at birth. You were satanically, ritually abused through circumcision at birth. And so this one is a big one, I think, for men to try to wrap their mind around and also try to heal from this very significant spiritual wound that's been placed upon males to rip them of their power. Mutilate their genitals. This one often comes with like a caduceus implant, so like the medical tyranny implant. And what's sick about all of this is like the people who do it to you, like get off on this stuff, like the doctors and the priests that do these circumcisions, like they're gaining power from ripping these foreskins off.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is one of the biggest black magic things that have ever impacted the male infant. And so this really leads to a lot of unconscious and subconscious issues of safety, and really just affects their aspect of their identity, leaving them feel like less of a human. Okay. And they might not realize that like at all. Like you might go your whole life and just like wake up to that thought, like someday, like, fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they do it to break part of your sexual power. And again, they don't want to have healthy, strong alpha males at all. Like that's definitely a part of the agenda to break down the nuclear family systems and just the collective overall from being able to stand up against Willy Wonka and governmental tyranny.
Arizona Raven had a good question. She said, "Is that why most men don't never drop their ego?
Why most men
Don't drop their ego," she said.
don't drop their ego?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
And I put the link in the description, guys. I got it out of the other video that didn't work, and I put the link in the chat here. So if you guys sign up from the course, you get a discount. What was the code again?
Removal 10, all lowercase, one word.
I'll have to put that in the description. Removal 10. Well, did you have any other closing thoughts, or before we finish up for today?
I think it was the J-seal removal one. We were going to look at that one.
I'm not sure if I have that picture on this screen. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I have it first. Like I might have not carried it over from the other video. Let me see here. Let me check real quick. Yeah, I only have those three. I didn't get that one. Did you want to just talk about it real quick?
Can I share it on my end?
Yeah, you can share. Let me allow screen sharing. Hold on, let me 1 second. Why is this doing this? There you go. Okay, sorry.
No worries. So yeah, this is the picture that I designed for J-seal removal. This one kind of came to me after doing them for a while. This is the actual Metatronic seal and implant. So this one looks kind of like little T's or Templars that are going into the strands of the DNA in between all 12 strands. A lot of times this is unplugged a little bit. People might not have all of these. But they might just have a couple or have a few. So that's why you would like remote into their DNA and then like read the DNA to see what's all entrapped. And it funnels down into the main system. It's kind of like an overlay or a hologram of a living stigmata, basically. And this one actually comes through the Jehovian biblical revelations. That's where it originated from. So it pertains to like the 7 seals and the 4 horsemen. You can read about it on Wikipedia. It's also in the Voyagers books as well. On page 14 with Oceana Dean, she talks a lot about these seals. And it's they're all positioned on the 7th axial tonal line in the body. So it's the feminine side. And they're also in the earth as well. So these run down the east side of North America, and is it east side? Yeah, in the east side of South America. So it runs down, and they're placed on the 7 primary vortices, and they're running within the pylon selenite rods. Okay, so this is all about when the Atlanteans took over and blew up all the crystal technology. They encoded it with the J-seals to run the crucifixion and persecution coding into the earth body. Again, this is why this should be practice versus a one-time removal because it's a planetary distortion. So until we can clear out the depth of the core world wounding of these timelines, the trigger events are going to continuously run and re-implement these in people's fields.
Yeah.
What they basically wanted to do is they wanted to rip greater wormholes in the wall in time. So they're trying to continue to systematically dismantle the Earth's magnetic field and then be able to re-implement these great wounding. Sorry, what were you going to say, Rob?
I was just going to say that this is good for people. Like, I mean, what you're trying to do is you're trying to help humanity, and you're giving someone a chance to basically start their own business in a way. Like, you can help humanity by learning how to remove these seals, and then you can start your own practice where you remove these seals from people, because let's be honest, not a lot of people want to dive deep into this knowledge. So if you're a knowledge seeker and you want to tap into knowledge and you want to learn how to heal people, you can do that through this course. And then also, then you'll have a trade that you'll know for the rest of your life. Like if you're called to this, like if you're really called to this, maybe it's something that, people should look into, I think, just to kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. You're completely right. The thing is this information isn't just for me. Like, I learned about the J seal removals through the biblical revelations, through Wikipedia, through the Voyager's book, through studying Lisa Renee. But then from there, I took it to the next level and realized there's more implementation of seal systems that are running here. I expanded within my consciousness within this as a practice. But the thing is, like, this is my work, but this is work that I can't do by myself. I can't clear everybody of these implants and seals. So why not teach other people how to do it? And we have more expansion of the healing, more expansion of the clearing, more expansion of the removals, more expansion of clearing these akashic timelines from these major trigger events that have just wreaked havoc on humanity's consciousness. And create more healing in the world. Like, that's what this is all about, is sharing the knowledge. It is a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of information. You have to get all of it to truly understand what it is. So you know what you're doing. So you know what you're removing. So you can truly actually help people to understand what they're clearing. And
let me ask you this. Does someone need to be really advanced in their psychic abilities to do this, or can it be someone who's not that advanced yet in their psychic abilities? It
is definitely important that you have some basis and understanding of what holographic architecture is, that you have some basis or ability to somewhat remote view or tune in. You don't have to, though. I can tell you, when I first started doing J-seal removals, I really couldn't do it that well. It was something that I attained through practice and practice and practice and practice, and opening it up more and learning how to expand my mind more and learning how to tune in more and learning how to read more. Like, it takes time. So either way, you don't have to have it, or you can have really good psychic abilities, but it's like with anything you do, like, it takes time to develop the skill. I think remote reading energy signatures is something everybody can do. It's about mastering your mind.
Yeah. This is listening. This might be a good place to send them. It's 2:22, and we just right at that spot. It's 2:22. Well, it's 1:22 where you're at. But I mean, did you want to tell everybody where they can find you? And thank you for doing this. This was awesome.
Yeah, this was so much fun. Thanks for having me on. You can find me at IndigoAngel222.com. If you are interested in signing up for the course, it's at learn.IndigoAngel222.com. Highly recommend clicking on Rob's link, so that way he can also benefit from this connection and from promoting my course. And thank you so much for doing that, Rob. I appreciate this so much. It just helps me get the word out, because I want to be able to reach as many people as I can to share the opportunity. And so that's how you can find me. I have a lot of blogs, so if people want to read about all this stuff before they sign up for it, just go to my blog section on my website, IndigoAngel222.com, click on the blogs. You'll find all of the articles I have lots of videos on my YouTube channel as well. That's informational videos about this stuff that goes into the full depth of what it is. And so all of the stuff is there to research, to pre-research and kind of vet all of the information and see if it's something you want to do. But even now, like I have been working on the course so far, preparing for it. So if someone signs up, I have so much information and things that people can already go in and just start downloading the coursework that's already available to start looking over stuff. So yeah, we're getting ready to rock and roll. It's going to be 11 live classes in webinar format. And then we're going to also have breakout rooms as well. So that way we can practice. I haven't quite figured out how to do the breakout rooms yet, but we're going to try to figure it out before class starts. So that way, because we want to be able to make it so people can practice and then we can pop into the rooms and then watch what they're doing and then help them with their facilitation if they need help with it. And just be kind of there, like holding their hand and giving feedback for people. It's about just perfecting your own grace and facilitation and healing. It's an art form. You know, not only are you really tuning in and removing implants, but you're also perfecting your own style and your own way of doing it. And so I encourage people to be as authentic as they possibly can.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. This was awesome. And thank you everybody for tuning in. Oh, and just the closing notes for me, I always just say support the podcast if you can. There'll be links in the description, and I appreciate all you guys. And I have another live show today at like 6, so I'll see you guys in a little bit. And thanks everybody. Have a good day. All right, that was awesome.
Bye.